The Kesh Temple Hymn. The princely Lord came forth from the house. Enlil, the princely Lord, came forth from the house. The princely Lord came forth royally from the house. Enlil lifted his glance over all the lands, and the lands raised themselves to Enlil. The four corners of heaven became green for Enlil like a garden. Kesh was positioned there for him with head uplifted, and as Kesh lifted its head among all the nations and lands, Enlil spoke in praise of Kesh. Nisaba was its decision maker. With its words, she wove it intricately like a net. Written on tablets, it was held in her hands. House platform of the land, important fierce bull. House Kesh platform of the land, important fierce bull. Going as high as the hills, embracing the heavens, going as high as a current, lifting its head among the mountains. Rooted in the Abzu, verdant like the mountains. Will anyone else bring forth something as great as Kesh? Will any other mother ever give birth to someone as great as its hero, Aki? Who has ever seen anyone as great as its lady, Nintud? The first house, good house, built in a good location. House Kesh, built in a good location. Floating in the heavens, like a princely barge, like a holy barge furnished with a gate, like the boat of heaven, the platform of all lands. From the riverbank, like a boat cabin, house roaring like an ox, billowing loudly like a breed bull, house in whose interior is the power of the land, and behind which is the life of Sumer. House, great enclosure, reaching to the heavens, great, true house, reaching to the heavens. House, great crown reaching to the heavens. House, rainbow reaching to the heavens. House whose platform extends into the midst of the heavens, whose foundation are fixed in the Abzu, whose shade covers all lands. House founded by An, praised by Enlil, given an oracle by Mother Nintud. House Kesh, great in its fruit. Will anyone else bring forth something as great as Kesh? Will any other mother ever give birth to someone as great as its hero, Aki? Who has ever seen anyone as great as its lady Nintud? The second house, House 10 Sar, at its upper end, 5 Sar, at its lower end, House 10 Bur, at its upper end, 5 Bur, at its lower end, House at its upper end, a bison, and at its lower end, a stag. House at its upper end, a wild sheep, at its lower end, a deer. House at its upper end, a dabbling wild sheep, at its lower end, a beautiful deer. House at its upper end, green like a viper, and at its lower end, floating on the water like a pelican. House at its upper end, rising like the sun, at its lower end, spreading like the moonlight. House at its upper end, a warrior mace, at its lower end, a battle axe. House at its upper end, a mountain, at its lower end, a spring. House at its upper end, threefold indeed. Will anyone else bring forth something great as Kesh? Will any other mother ever give birth to someone as great as its hero, Aki? Who has ever seen anyone great as its lady Nintud? The third house, inspiring great awe, called with a mighty name by An, house whose fate is grandly determined by the great mountain Enlil, house of the Anunnaki, possessing great power, which gives wisdom to the people. House, reposeful, dwelling of the great gods. House, which was planned together with the plan of heaven and earth with pure divine powers. House, which underpins the land and supports the shrines. House, mountain of abundance, which passes the days in glory. House of Nintud Saja, which establishes the life of the land. House, great hillside, worthy of the purification rites, altering all things. House without whom no decisions are made. A house good, carrying in its hands the broad land. The house which gives birth to countless peoples, seed which has sprouts. House which gives birth to kings, which determines the destiny of the land. House of royal personages who are to be revered. Will anyone else bring forth something as great as Kesh? Will any other mother give birth to someone as great as the hero Agi? Who has ever seen anyone as great as its lady Nintud? The house, it is indeed a city. It is indeed a city. Who knows its interior? The house Kesh is indeed a city. Who knows its interior? The heroes make their way straight through into its interior and perform its oracle rites perfectly. Frisking cattle are gathered at the house in herds. The house consumes many cattle. The house consumes many sheep. Those who sit on daisies bow their necks before it. It wears a crown to vie with the boxwood tree. It spreads out to vie with the poplar. It is as green as the hills. Will anyone else bring forth something as great as Kesh? Will any other mother ever give birth to someone as great as its hero, Aki? Who has ever seen anyone as great as its lady Nintud? The fourth house. House given birth by a lion, whose interior the hero has embellished. House Kesh, given birth by a lion, whose interior the hero has embellished. The heroes make their way straight into its interior. Nintud Saja sits within like a great dragon. Nintud, the great mother, assists at births there. Shal Pa'ed, the ruler, acts as lord. Aki, the hero, consumes the contents of the vessels. Erumash, the great herald of the plains, dwells there too. Stags are gathered at the house in the herds. Will anyone else bring forth something as great as Kesh? Will any other mother ever give birth to someone as great as its hero, Aki? Who has ever seen as great as a lady Nintud? The fifth house. House positioned over its foundation like a storm, like white bull standing about on the plain. House founded by the prince in praise on the Teli instrument. House in whose interior is the power of the land, and behind which is the life of Sumer, at whose gate is a lion reclining on its paws, at whose gate is the ruler who decides cases. House at whose door is the great mountain with adversary, at whose bolt is a great frisking wild bull, at whose bar is an awe-inspiring lion, whose well-founded storehouse is a corner of heaven, a corner of earth, whose terrace is supported by Ihama, whose princely great wall, the shrine of Urim. Will anyone else bring forth someone as great as Kesh? Will any other mother give birth to someone as great as its hero, Aki? Who has ever seen anyone as great as its lady, Nintud? The sixth house. House imbued with radiance, excellence, house, Lord Nud Im Mud, in heaven, and earth, brickwork of the land, brickwork grandly in the Abzu. Terrace, relaxing abode, holy splendor of the people, house which is seemly for the foreign lands. Will anyone else bring forth something as great as Kesh? Will any other mother ever give birth to someone as great as its hero Aki? Who has ever seen anyone as great as its lady Nintud, the 8th house? The holy house who is the shrine, the holy house Kesh, whose is the shrine, the house whose lords are the Anunnaki, whose Nuesh priests are the sacrificers of Yana. In the house the king places stone bowls in position. The good ant priest holds the lead rope dangling. The Antu priest holds the staff. They bring the waters. They take his seat into the holy place. The Ekun priests bow down. The Baksi priests beat the drums. They recite powerfully, very powerfully. The bull's horns is made to growl. The drumstick are made to thud. The singers cry out to the alien drum. The grand sweet Tiggy is well tuned for him as well. The house is built. Its nobility is good. The house Kesh is built. Its nobility is good. Its lady has taken a seat in its throne. Then her Saja, its lady, has taken her seat in its throne. Will anyone else bring forth something as great as Kesh? Will any other mother give birth to someone as great as the hero Aki? Who has ever seen anyone as great as its lady Nintud? The 7th house. Draw nearer, man, to the city, but do not draw near. Draw near, man, to the house, Kesh, to the city, but do not draw near. Draw near, man, to its hero Aki, but do not draw near. Draw near, man, to its lady Nintud, but do not draw near. Praise be to well-built Kesh, O Aki. Praise be to cherished Kesh and Nintud.